Hey, what's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out, Miami Heat. They lose tonight to the Los Angeles Clippers, 103-95. Disappointing for a few reasons. I think the Miami Heat played a pretty good basketball game today. They left a lot of open shots on the floor, and you probably knew going into a game like this, the first thing that happened when we got the news that Tyler Hero was going to be out for this game, the first thing I immediately thought of is, I don't know how the hell we got enough shooting for this game, because Miami's already down Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson's out with a concussion. They're not a team that features a lot of great three-point shooters, and so you take Tyler Hero out of the mix, it's going to be hard to come by. I mean, when you take those guys out, like, who is your most reliable shooter outside of that? Jimmy? And Jimmy's not going to put up more than 4 a game, so maybe he'll have a night where he hits you a couple, but you don't really have anybody out there other than maybe a hot Kevin Love night where you're going to go get a bevy of threes. So I knew that was going to be an issue from the start. It ended up really being the doom of the Miami Heat, who played a pretty even game, actually made more baskets than the Clippers did tonight, but the Clippers made twice as many threes. And it was just the undoing of Miami. That, and of course, referee chicanery. But look, this is one of those where, while Miami still has not had it all figured out together, they, snap their losing streak. They have a very, very dicey game in Washington that they're able to pull out. The one thing I liked about today's game, you're taking on a very, very good Clippers team. And I felt like this was a Miami team that did have some fight. I thought there was a lot of defensive intensity in this game. A lot of that, the air was taken out of the balloon by what these officials are allowing James Harden to do to the game of basketball. I mean, let's just get into it. This dude is allowed to do whatever the hell he wants on the court. It really just boggles the mind as to he's tremendously talented, one of the all-time greats. But the stuff he is allowed to get away with sometimes, with the ticky-tack calls and the flopping and the flailing and the falling into the stands, into his bench, and it's so gross to see. It drives me bananas watching this man play basketball. And yeah, do I sound like I got sour grapes? You bet your ass I do, because I feel like my basketball team is going out there. They're going blow for blow with this team, and then all of a sudden the referees decide, you know what, let's just go a couple 4-point plays for old James Harden for the beard, for a couple 4-pointers. Like, it's this mystical 4-point wonder play that only this man is allowed to have, because he decides, I have gotten great at the theatrics of basketball and can fall all over the place. I remember Eric Spoelstra, when they thought they were going to do away with this, and was really, coincided with a lot of James Harden's numbers plummeting, was because they were getting away with a lot of that flopping and flailing that they were going to reward. I remember Eric Spoelstra saying, we're not here to go out there and reward trickery. That's how he described it. Trickery.
Nobody wants to see non-basketball plays or trickery being rewarded.
And that's what it feels like with him. It feels like he's gimmicking the game. What they were, and then I don't know what this respect they have is for Mason Plumlee. I don't know if all these guys are Blue Devil fans or what the hell's going on there. But Mason Plumlee is out there. He's the only guy out there who's allowed to walk more than James Harden out on the court today. He's dragging his foot like it's falling asleep on him. It doesn't matter. And then he's like allowed to go out there and give John Bones Jones elbows to Caleb Martin. No call. But if you right around James Harden, if Haywood Highsmith is just in the vicinity of him, normally this is something they only call on Duncan Robinson. But Haywood Highsmith, who was having a tremendous game defensively, taking up the challenges of Kawhi and James Harden, probably one of the best games that you can have and utilize a guy like Haywood Highsmith. This ticky-tack bulb leap they put around him, they're like, nah, out. Take him out of there. 5,000, enough for you, Haywood. Hit the showers. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, you're not able to go have a guy out there who's, in a tough game where you got to have Jimmy, you got to Bam at their best defensively. One of those other weapons you have, you can't have them out there. So huge bummer on that side. It's not the number one reason the Miami Heat lost today. I always feel like I got to say that as a caveat, as to not sound like a sore loser. But I am a sore loser in this game because I do feel like that swung the game. I felt like Miami was going in a spot where it was a very, very close game. And, they get to this point in the fourth quarter where James Harden is, doing this fadeaway falling in, and it gives the Clippers the lead. It would be the last time Miami had the lead. They were up 72-71 at the time. And then James Harden gets this 4-point play. Miami just can't really catch up with it. And then, they start doing this once again where he hits a three. Terry Rozier is minding his own business. Harden kicks out his leg to land on it. Should be an offensive foul. Nah, 4-point play. Okay, well, we're not playing the same game, are we? But this game really, the Clippers, it was a good game, pretty even back and forth, but Kawhi Leonard was just, if you guys haven't seen him and you weren't aware, this guy's still really good. He was an absolute menace. Did a number on Jimmy Butler tonight. His ability to steal, his ability to block, he's just a house. He's an absolute freight train, and I do think that they put Jimmy on the back hill a little bit in this game because we did not see the same Jimmy Butler that we have been seeing in this recent resurgence. Jimmy today took a lot of shots, but it didn't feel like he had that same force. Jimmy Butler, 3 free throws tonight. Also put a little lipstick on the pig with a couple of late buckets to, he had a late 3, then he had a late 3-point play to kind of keep hope alive there. But you wanted that switch to be flipped immediately. And then Bam today finished with 14 points. 4 of them were in the second half. He was an absolute non-factor in the second half of this basketball game. Cannot hit a shot that's not at the rim at all. He continues to struggle with that mid-range game, but he's another one. Wasn't able. I felt like early on in the game they had the right measure with this. Him and Rozier, that two-man game with them was working good, and Bam was attacking Zubac. But really did not see that, and especially in a second half from Bam, where, let me see if they have the final game book up here. Yeah, Bam, his second half numbers today, 2 of 7, 4 points, no free throws for him. Did a good job rebounding today and got some key steals, but just wasn't an offensive factor. And so then you got to flip it on over to, okay, is this going to be the game where Terry Rozier gets going? And Terry, I do feel like Terry Rozier started off again in this game. I felt like he started off in a good place, but a lot of it's in that mid-range floater area. A lot of those places that Tyler Hero thrives. He was getting to the rim a couple times, but he was not, he's not been this monster force of getting to the line a ton, which it's not really his game. But the thing that's been crushing with Terry is he has had some looks from 3-point. They haven't been able to rely on him as a 3-point shooter at all. I think Eric Reed said that his numbers right now as a Heat player, 7 of 32 from downtown since he's been traded to Miami. So you're looking 21% from downtown since Terry has gotten here. So they have not been able to get the full Terry Rozier, and that's been that was a tough thing. You knew if you were gonna have a game with no Tyler Hero today and Terry was gonna be out there, that you were gonna absolutely need somebody to step up from downtown, and they just didn't have that today. They did not have that for them as a factor today in this game. Look, that's a good Clippers team. A lot of firepower all over the place. And this was a game where, you definitely have to go in there and pick your poison with guys Paul George did not really have it going today, but Kawhi was just an absolute menace. Did everything, big on rebounds, steals, blocks, 25 points for them today. So he was far and away the best player on the floor tonight. Far and away the best player on the floor. And, second was the refs. They were the second best player on the floor today for the Clippers. But God, that just drives me nuts with the James Harden stuff, man. It just feels like you're out here and you're watching this guy get rewarded for just complete nonsense. So, pretty disappointing stuff. Caleb Martin, I thought, had a nice game today. He was definitely aggressive in attacking. He's not going to have like the number one dudes on him, so that's on him to take those opportunities. But I just feel like in a game like today, you don't have Tyler Hero, you don't have the shooting. This is a game where in the first half, I thought Miami had the right tone of this, and that they kind of took the air out of this game. They were going to make this a very big defensive struggle. Hard to imagine you're going to be able to keep the Clippers down for that long. But on the other side of it, like you'd like a game like this for Bam and Jimmy to kind of take it like boa constrictors, choke the life out of it, because it's going to be tough going blow for blow with them from downtown to make those shots. And that was the disappointing thing about this. Now, Miami has a couple of games coming up this week. A lot of home games. It's a 4-game homestand with some off days at home. So I'd imagine they'll even get some practice time in the midst of all of this as well. Hopefully Tyler Hero gets back. Don't know what's up with Duncan Robinson and where things stand with that. But Miami gets Orlando on Tuesday. It's a back-to-back at home. So Orlando on Tuesday night, San Antonio on Wednesday night, and then the Celtics on Super Bowl Sunday. That is going to be the way for them. But yeah, I would say the next two for a Miami team, you have to go get these ones. You have to. Been able to, you got to get Orlando back for the last time they got you in the midst of the losing streak. You want to, of course, Miami's been very successful within their division so far this year. You're right neck and neck with them in this race. I think I actually bumped ahead of you today with their win over Detroit. So Tuesday is a huge, huge game for Miami. They got to get that one. And then, of course, San Antonio has been just god-awful this year. There's plainly no excuse for Miami to lose that game. But as we've seen with this Heat team, you cannot chalk up and assume anything. They have to go get it, and they have to do it effectively. But, I thought today was a valiant effort for Miami, certainly on the defensive standpoint. They did a lot of good things. It's just, you were basically playing a different game because in the second half, the three-pointers, it was, let's just see what the final numbers are, because the final numbers are bad because they doubled you up, but in the second half, it was rough just because, they hit 9 of 18 from downtown. You were 4 of 15. So, very, very tough pill to swallow there, and a lot of deflating moments, and especially when it gets buoyed by bullshit calls. That also doesn't that doesn't also help the morale of things. But maybe it is the year 2024. One day these referees won't allow James Harden to do whatever the hell he wants, or they won't fall for his crap. What do you expect? I didn't expect them to give those same liberties to Mason Plumlee. I'll tell you that much. Crazy, dude.